Hey everybody, this is Kathleen from Ashley Joe's Land of Confusion. Since Ashley decided that she is not going to go any further, we don't want to leave you guys without the full story of our story. So we are going to move forward with Karen, my business partner. I'm so excited. She's going to tell you her personal experience with Tori Maris, and then we are going to let you guys in on how we met, and then the part three will be the further story from the election, right?
Yeah, I think it's important to share because our kind of paths collide. But I just kind of wanted to give you a backstory, kind of what I was doing on the same path as Katie. And, I was just an angry mom over the mandates. And, people were discussing lawsuits across the state, but nobody was really, taking any steps. And so I ran into a local lady trying to organize a local county group for Ohio Stands Up, and that group never really took off. I kind of stayed in contact with her because it was very hard for her to get people to organize in my county. I learned about Tor from Mayfield Heights, and I saw a clip of her providing speaking at a Mayfield Heights school board.
Can I add context to that Mayfield Heights case?
Well, I'm
Oh,
gonna, well, let's show the clip. I want to show the clip,
okay,
the
perfect,
video.
perfect,
Okay, hold on.
perfect.
I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. Hold on. Nope. Okay, here.
Yeah, we can't hear it.
Okay. Well, we can drop the link, right? But
Yeah,
there it is. You see her, you see her speaking. You see that this is August 25th, right?
yes.
Okay. So we can drop that. So
Yeah, we'll
I
drop it in the link.
I find her speaking, and she serves the board in that meeting. So she's going to sue Mayfield Heights local school district. And I was like, heck yeah, because I was organizing, local people. I was in touch with the Iowa Mama Bears about their legislation and was in contact with them. So I was really looking ahead to legislation and or lawsuits. Okay,
Yes.
the legality of all of it. And so I had already organized my local school district. I had already organized school districts around me. And then I started to organize a group in Ohio called Unmuzzle Ohio's Children. And because I was so active, that administrator of the page reached out to me and said, yeah,
Was it
Unmuzzle.
moderator?
Moderator. There you go. I was administrator, admin, whatever.
Admin. You're an admin. I'm like, what is the
She
word?
reached out to me and said, hey, you like seem to have a beat on kind of what's happening around the state. Could you be an admin for this page? And I was like, absolutely, I would love to be. And I've just kind of remained in that group henceforth. And so
awesome.
well, because I've kind of kept up on it. So
Yeah.
I reached out to Tor and asked her, what are you filing? What is the basis of your litigation? And so I want to share that as well because I have those emails.
You keep everything.
Yeah. It's just hard because my
I don't even
stuff.
think I've seen these emails.
Oh yeah, okay. So hello, it was from Mayfield.
I'm gonna put my
Mayfield Parents Union. And I'm trying to see, can we see the date? I'm sorry, we're over my September 5th,
okay.
2021. Okay.
Oh, so before I met you.
And so,
Okay.
hello, Mayfield parents. Like, I've been doing my thing. We've talked about this, that, and the other. And if we can't hold it down, can we? And at that point, I was a school board candidate. Okay.
Yes.
So she writes me back, or someone does, from the parents' union and tells me, here are my suits. Here's the information, gives me her, hey, Toresays, I was told to join here for the suits. Her Toresays Plus handle, which I'm assuming that was the New Ohio group. I don't know. I don't know what that was.
I think the Toresays Plus channel is the channel that she still has, that plus. Like I
Okay, so you can see here is one of the docs.
Yeah, here's your Mayfield case.
Okay, and here's the other, I think it's I don't know what it is. The complaint, the actual complaint.
Her complaint, her original complaint.
Yeah.
So like when you file a lawsuit, you file a complaint, and then the respondent responds, and then back and forth, you go to court.
Okay. So I received the suit, and I assume that was her New Ohio group. I'm just going to tell you right now, if it requires more than like 3 steps for me to get into a group, I'm not doing it. So it was a ridiculous amount of go here, go here, go here, go here. And I was like, I don't get it. I'm out. So I never got into her New Ohio group. Never in. If I was in, I didn't know I was in. And I didn't, and I think I was like at a gap stop because I know Eric was in there because he was Stephanus Bones. So that was like a stop.
Well, Eric was Eric. I forget what his handle is. It's I don't remember, but I know
it was Bocephanus Bones, and
it's
then I think you had to go somewhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it. He did it for me in person.
So I was in whatever group she sent me to, and then there were like an offshoot group, and that, you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I can't do it. So
too many steps.
And I was like, I ain't nobody got time for this.
And nothing's that super secret.
No. And I told her at that moment, like I had organized the point I was holding it down. And so at the point where I felt like I no longer was able to like lock it down and hold it down, then we would, we would revisit this case. But I really felt like at that time, I, personally in my district had no legal standing. So in August, I met Sarah, who was the organizer of a rally. Okay.
Whose rally?
Sarah had organized a rally in my community, and I was and she was doing like medical
medical freedom stuff, like
AMF
or something.
Medical freedom stuff.
Oh God.
And so
I just saw that website. I'm like,
I know. I'm sorry.
Everybody who thinks I'm crazy about the Hobbit thing, it's Karen's fault.
Hold on. I'll show you
I know we're getting to that, but
I met her at this rally. I'm sorry. I for whatever reason they all closed on me. Oh, here it is. There. I met her at this rally. You see Sarah Hellman. And it was a medical freedom. Well, I'm a nurse. So I had already been in contact with a bunch of nurses, right?
I bet.
And I had encouraged them to go like speak out because I clearly knew that at that time that this was going to trickle down to healthcare. I clearly saw where this was going. And then I knew that it was going to trickle down to the schools. And so
always it's like
I linked up with her. Well, at that time I was running for school board. I was still kind of holding stuff down. I met Sarah. We formed the group Revere Freedom Alliance.
Who, by the way, everybody, Tori Maris follows her group.
Yes.
Is very, I think she follows like 8 people. And for some reason.
Yeah, one of them's like herself.
It's a little creepy.
It is a little creepy. And so what is the date? Like we met like and like within a week or so, we were organizing Revere and launching an event. So
Oh, wow.
our first event was Education Matters, and we had as many county school board candidates as we could get there. We had
Oh,
there.
wow.
So it was me.
You never told me any of this.
It was me. So I led it as far as like organizing the people that were running, and then she found the location and kind of promoted it, and that was kind of how we operated things.
She was your marketing girl.
Yeah, she was like the marketing and promoter,
digital design.
Yeah. And so it worked out very, very well. And so I got the people there. She would promote it, and we would have the content there, and we would kind of answer questions and whatever. So there was 4 school districts represented at that Education Matters, our first event. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And so then we just kind of started organizing right from there. So our pillars were medical freedom, school choice and reform, and election integrity. Well, they're back to meeting a lady that was trying to organize an Ohio Stands Up group. She started attending our meetings, and she started approaching Sarah. Well, I knew her and I had spoken with her, but she was very difficult to work with. Very secretive, very not forthcoming, and I just didn't find any real common ground. Our personalities
or real information coming from that side either,
no.
like something substantiate that we could do something.
No. And so I was kind of out, and I knew at that point that so Lisa Woods had already endorsed me. She's an ex-state school board member. So Lisa Woods had already endorsed me as a school board candidate. Okay.
Which is when I started following you, by the way.
And so she had introduced me to a plethora of people from the Medina friends and neighbors. Okay.
Okay.
So I had already known Tom Hack from Free Ohio Now. And so I had already talked to him multiple times about my school board race and about how to kind of, navigate those waters. Well, what Tina didn't understand when she got involved with that group, Free Ohio Now, and then Ohio Fan, is that I had already established relationships with all those people months prior.
Oh.
And she and I had already encountered each other, and she was now approaching Sarah because I pretty much was like, nothing really here for me to do. So then the next thing you know, she has 2 other people working with her on election integrity things. And, they're not forthcoming. They're not sharing what they're doing, who they're doing it with, what their results are. And I continue to question those efforts and question what they're doing. And I did get some information from them, like the Zuckerbucks information.
Yeah.
And one of the members
and the stuff we got that from them, their EPs, which is huge. Yeah.
And so it put me on that trail, and okay, this isn't actionable. This is something you can share out with multiple counties. So I shared what we had with Richland County with over 100 people and said, go back to your county, find it in your county, and educate people on it. Because
county, yes.
Right, because 86 counties, I want to say, across the state took the Zuckerbuck. Did all 88?
No, I'm sorry. 86 took. Yes.
Yeah. And so go back to your county, because 86 counties took some, dollar amount. And she did, one of the members that Tina was working with did stand up in a county meeting, and we got one of the election officials on camera saying, well, I just want to clarify here. We did take the money, but we used it. You know what I mean? So we did have actionable issues.
Like Lorraine County, $400,000 for the hand sanitizer.
Yeah. Right. And so we did get itemized, stuff on that. And that was actionable. And that was great. But that was the only success I had with those 3 individuals.
Can't do anything with it. Yeah.
Right. And I said, well, you should be sharing that clip on a loop everywhere you go, and you should be telling people how you did that.
And access the documents to see
right, and tell them what you asked for, tell them what you did. And so it just got weirder from there, and more difficult to work with these three. The more events we had, the more calls we had, you know what I mean? The more questions I asked, they wanted us to be knocking doors. And I said, okay, well, I can knock doors because I'm gonna knock doors for my campaign, right? Yeah. So if you have voter issues in my area, I will be happy to knock those doors and, duel it. Like, you know what I mean? 2 birds, 1 stone.
Oh, yeah. I did the same thing with Jeremy Majewski out here. Yeah.
Yeah. So the stuff that came back to me was so, like, disorganized and chaotic. And they're like, we need to have a call with you to explain this. And I'm like, listen, if I have to have a call with you to explain this, then I'm sorry, I don't have time. If it's not organized and actionable and ready for me to hit the ground, like, I'm running a campaign, like, I don't have time to, like,
to do this nonsense.
Meet with you. And it was always like, we need to email, we need to call, we need to meet, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't have time for that. Text
no
me,
one has time for that. It's a full-time job.
Yeah, just call me and we'll talk about it. We'll discuss it if it's in front of me, right? If it's not in front of me and I'm in the middle of something, like, I really don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Exactly.
And so it just became very apparent to me that it was super secret. They could never answer my questions, or wouldn't answer my questions.
Wouldn't.
When I approached Sarah about, hey, what are they doing? I don't know. Well, what are their results? I don't know. Who are they working with? I don't know. And I'm like, well, this isn't productive as far as I'm concerned. Like, this isn't, things are happening nationally. Okay, but what are you
good for doing? The national good for, no offense to any others, good for your state. We don't live there.
Right. And that was
it's not affecting Ohio.
Right. I understand that it's going to happen, but my focus with Revere was local, on the county level. And I can't stress how much we explain that over and over and over. Now, over time, people got to know us and joined from across the state to keep up with what we were doing and what, you know what I mean,
we had going promoting on and saying.
And, right, what our actionable items were. But
which I was one of those people.
Yeah, so it just became very clear to me that this wasn't a great working relationship. Well, then they started telling me, well, you're giving us assignments and I don't work for you, and you know what I mean? And I'm like, what?
But it's okay when they're telling you what to do.
Well, it's okay when they're telling me what to do and how I should do it, but they won't do it, or they don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
Or
make it make sense, right?
Or the bobblehead that they're listening to tells them to do it. But the people in their local community who are actively working on issues, actionable items, I don't work for you. So at that point, I was like, I'm out on all that. Like, either they're putting.
I'm not here to be your teacher. I'm here to, actually be productive and get something done, and not in an echo chamber and bitch.
Right. And if I tend to give assignments, like when I'm multitasking all day. So when
that's all we do.
So when people come back to me and say, hey, can you explain this? Or I don't understand this, or what is the point of this? Then I'm like, oh, yeah. Let me, I have
clarify.
Let me clarify. Let me get to you this day or time or whatever, what's good for you. And I can explain the whole thing. Nothing is super secret. We've said that multiple times. And any documents that I have access to are public documents. You know what I mean?
Because they are public documents.
Right.
That's exactly what they are. Any records request that Tori has done or her group has done, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, the second you upload it on the internet, it's public domain. It's free reign. So they're not your super secret club documents that no one else can use. They're public documents that you requested, and you're preaching transparency while you're inhibiting people using the documents that are our public we the people, like they like to say, we the people's documents. That's what they are.
Right.
Which is why we did our election integrity, which we still have probably 1,500 documents to go through.
Oh, it's an enormous thing. And it's an enormous thing to get people to understand it. And, you know, you are much further ahead in that than I was, but I was depending on these people to explain it to me in a manner that I could understand. And if they could do that, then I was sure that they could explain it to, you know, the average Joe who's not keeping track of all of this. Okay.
Yes, which I have a hard time doing because you get mad at me when you're making Katie sense. You're not making Karen's.
No, right.
What you're talking about right now.
You know, there are those clashes of personalities. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm not speaking your language. So
Which is good though, because that tells me somebody else isn't going to get it. And I'm just talking.
Right.
And I need to get this to a point where anybody can understand it.
Right. And, you know, in nursing, you know, tailoring education, it said a 6th grade education. Now, I would like to think that many people are well above a 6th grade education, but many educational professionals will tell you, keep it simple, stupid, right? So at that point, I was
stupid.
like,
we're not going to say stupid.
Not stupid, but
simple.
Me. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Me as stupid, not the person. Me keeping it simple. Because
we like the Toresays people. What do they say?
Well, right. They're so stupid. But me, because I know what I'm talking about. I know the lingo. I know the language. I know the abbreviations. I know this and that. But the average person doesn't know.
Oh, no. And the acronyms?
Oh, they're the worst. So, you know, at that point, Sarah began to mediate between those three and myself. And for a long time, I was like, you know what? They appreciate you. They work better with you. Like, if you can accomplish something with them, like, do it to it. Yeah. As long as it's not detracting from our goals and what you want to accomplish here and what we decided we wanted to accomplish here, like, then do it to it. Yeah. But again, there came a point where, you know, they couldn't answer the questions, any of them. And so the next thing you know, we're having meet and greets, we're having candidates forums, we're having, you know what I mean, all this stuff.
Well, because it was ticking in Ohio at that time. People
they wanted access to that, but they didn't want to share information and put information on the table. So fast forward to John Adams, where we became pretty involved in his campaign. Well, then I realized that Toresays was attempting to run as a Republican on the Republican ticket as Secretary of State. Now, Tina was in New Ohio. Another member of her group was in New Ohio that was working on election integrity, and I don't know about the third. But the
chat export, so we just haven't found their name yet.
So I don't know their handle. I know one was Tina E. We
found Tina, and we found the other.
And so I did not know that Tina was in there. I knew that the other girl was in there because she was relaying information to Sarah. Okay. So she was telling us what Maris was putting out about John Adams so that we could counteract it.
Which is good.
Yes, it was great. It worked well. And Sarah was actively going, you know, to Tor's socials and, you know, like challenging her at that time. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
And so we had a meet and greet with Blystone. And we didn't know that his team was involved with her until
way later.
Well, February is when I realized.
Well, when you knew, I didn't find out until a couple months ago.
Yeah, I knew at least since February of 2021,
and we just never put it together until one day we were talking. We're like, what?
Yeah, and I was like, wait, what? Because they were like, oh, you should talk to Maris, like she's, you know, the real deal, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm out because my candidate was John Adams, because at that time, Sarah had developed the Ohio Liberty ballot, which, like, all props and credit to her, because
she did great. I talked to her about that. I had no idea you were even affiliated.
I did not understand her her thought process there. And I did not understand what she was trying to do until it all came out on the page, right? Until she did the website, until she,
and it was great,
vetted all of those people. But yeah, that was the problem. No one ever knew that I existed.
No, she never even told me. I think it was a couple months into it because I'm not around at this point, everybody.
No. Katie, I knew
don't know
Katie.
each other. I'm doing my own thing.
I knew Katie was on the Ohio Liberty ballot, but I did not know Katie at that time. And so, fast forward to this June 18th, which I can share my screen again. This June 18th.
Okay, can I say I love that we know how to do this now?
I know. Well, it's so much easier on. I'm just gonna tell you
this part, by the way, because it's a thing for us.
It's so much easier on Zoom. Okay, so fast forward to this June 18th of 2022, and this does your vote count of Ohio precinct strategy, where the moderator was Laura Logan, Hava Loudon, Mark Cook, Colonel Fred Stein, William Lind, and this Steve Hertzberg, which is
I was there.
Yes, which is what Katie was talking about in the previous interview. I was going to go. I forget what happened.
I wish you would have, because we would have met each other then.
Yeah, but I didn't end up going. And when Katie called me later, we talked about this event because I went back and watched it, and I was like, oh yeah, Laura 100% incited the crowd, and I was like, what just happened there? Because you couldn't see. It
came out of nowhere. Am I right? Like,
yeah,
nowhere. It was quiet. He was telling it on a local level, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, and you could just see the stage and like Hertzberg's confusion, and you could hear Laura in the background. You can't tell people this. They've been working diligently, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what just happened here? Like, I'm so confused. And then, yeah, the live like abruptly ended.
Well, because they said, get the out of here. Like, we have a wedding in the back, you crazy people. You're already past your time, and now you're ruining somebody's wedding.
So we were supporting John Adams, who Maris was running against. We were supporting Blystone, who was in contact, the Ohio Liberty ballot, who was in contact with Maris. Then we were supporting Mark Paquita, who we later learned was also in contact with Tor
Just called me a pig. Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
I'm putting him out there. Mark, you're an ass. Anyways, continue.
He said worse about me, but that's okay.
Oh my God, Karen, so then it's not even nice.
So then, we unanimously as a group, my low light is still not working. It's going in and out. I'm sorry.
I like it. It looks good.
We, as a group, unanimously decided that we weren't going to support Peterson or Maris. We were going to take a hiatus. Well, apparently, during that hiatus, all these three disgruntled people went to Paquita, and potentially four, including Sarah, went to Paquita and said, well, Karen's bossy. She gives assignments. A little birdie told him that no longer part of Revere because she's toxic and judgmental. She's gossipy. We would withhold information from her we didn't want to get out. She's quite a bully. So imagine I'm trying to extract information from these people. These people are keeping information that
you were so frustrated at that time.
I was like, you've got to be flipping
and a little heartbroken because these are your friends. These are the people that you spent the last year with, that you engaged with, that you tried to build a freedom initiative movement, grassroots movement with them.
Right.
Pretty much turn around and
right. Like, I'm the bad guy because I'm the one putting out information and telling them if it's super secret, then it's, BS.
Meanwhile, though, people, me and her are working together in the background because I had left my group at the time with my business partner.
Right. And I was on hiatus from Revere and having some serious, doubts and trust issues with those people because, I don't do super secret. I think
then they're attacking our character. that I'm shady, I'm this, I'm
I'm
that,
crazy, I'm a
out in it
bully.
for
Yeah, like
myself.
screw that. Like I don't need that. Like I don't
Yeah,
need
I
that.
don't need that negativity.
So on hiatus, you and I finally met. You called me and said, "Hey, I've been watching you on Facebook." And I'm like, "Really? Like how the hell did you get my number?" Like I was flabbergasted. Like how did you get a hold of me? Um
I'm a
and
super secret spy. No, I'm
you're a
joking.
super you are a super secret spy. But
No. I just been verified you.
but it, you know what I mean, it worked out great because we came together and we started like doing other things with schools. And I kind of picked up where I left off with candidates when I was running for school board, and I went back and we kind of shared the information that we had garnered and gathered during the time that I ran for school board and during the time that you were digging into funding.
And we've learned so much from then with school.
Oh, so many good
Putting
things.
together a book to explain it to others.
We're still working on that, and we're gonna circle back.
Circle back.
But it became very clear to me that these people were hindering me and working against me all along.
And being horrible to you, like thinking like you're like this like evil, like mean Karen. And no offense, she's that Karen, but you always need a Karen in your corner. That's what Karen always says.
That was my motto. Yeah, everybody needs
You
a Karen in the corner.
It's totally true. I wouldn't want to be doing this with any other person.
And so during Maris's run, for whatever reason, my group became a focus of hers, and she actually left let me see if I
probably because we didn't have me at that point. We were really operating out of Revere.
Yeah. Let me see if I get, so there's her independent candidate certification. She finally she wasn't able to run for the Republican Secretary of State, so she got on the ticket as an independent, and we unanimously in my group decided like we're not doing that. So here, can you see that?
Yeah.
She reviewed my group, and that's what she said. She said they spread hate and propaganda because they pretend to conservative but support people funded by Pfizer and pedos Lex Wexner. Hashtag be best. They talk like rabid leftists using lies. They do not read. The elevator doesn't reach the top floor. Well, and you can see what I said about her pedo husband, but we'll save that for another day.
We're not going to talk about that because everybody focuses on that, and we don't like that.
And then, stayed focused, and we discussed.
I wrote our first article. We together, and I'm going to say Karen has helped me immensely with these articles.
Well, I had part of the research. You had part of the research. But
I do want to give credit where credit's due. I couldn't have written that without the help and research of the days and days and days and days and days that we read through stuff.
And so the next thing you know, after that article pops out, what happens? It blows up. And the ORP uses every bit of our research. And
unknowingly.
Unknowingly. Right. And people are like, oh, they're Bob Paduchek spies.
For the establishment.
Yeah. Hey, you and Katie are Bob Paduchek spies, and you guys have been promised something.
We didn't even know that was happening. We were on the phone one night and we saw it, and I started reading it, and it was eerily. I mean, they used the same citation.
Yeah,
but listen, this is when she came after my kids, remember?
Yes, our kids. They have kids.
Yeah, they have kids.
They have kids.
And then she said something, Kathleen Barr, which I have that post and I'll link it. But
yeah, but for some reason she never mentions me. Although
isn't that weird?
Yes,
but all the other people mention you and hardly ever mention me, which I find very strange.
Right. The other people connected with her attack me, and she
wouldn't attack me.
Right, and she openly attacks you. It's quite bizarre.
And I'm just as big of an asshole as Karen.
I'm only an a-hole when I'm provoked.
I'm just saying, to them, we're the biggest assholes. So I'm just as equal, and they would never say anything to me, but they would always say shit to Karen.
Yeah. And
Erin
so,
always tag me and say my name. I mean, I have a screenshot. She's saying my name on multiple podcasts, and I have recordings too.
yeah. So then who approaches me other than this Ohio precinct strategy, Hava Loudon?
Who's
And
ignoring me, by the way, completely.
right, completely.
100%. Will not talk
They're
to me.
always coming after me, and I don't know why. I believe because they all believe that I'm the weakest link, and
Well, I
that
think they also know that I was in New Ohio and I saw, you know what I mean? I saw her. Remember, I asked about Hava, her handle,
uh-huh.
his handle. And no
Well,
offense, the only reason I was in Telegram was New Ohio at that time. So
right.
the only time I saw it, the only reason I knew her handle is because that's the chat she was in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, we meet with Hava. It's bizarre. It's
I saved
strange.
your life.
You saved my life. She was gonna roofie and kill me.
Put you in the woods.
I joke.
We're in the middle of the
I joke.
country.
I know. I
It was
joke.
a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. Legally, you're not accusing her of that. It's a complete 100% joke.
But it was a strange meeting, and it was a lot of talking in circles.
Wild. Yeah, we'll upload it so you all know what her voice sounds like too.
For the better part of an hour. And I'm just gonna tell you that
it was 2 hours. We started recording halfway through because I got to the table and she wouldn't even look.
Well, yeah, we were talking in circles for a better part of an hour, and then I think you caught the latter part of the conversation.
45 minutes of the last part, yeah.
And she originally tells us the precinct strategy that Donald Trump has, said from what Charles Schultz.
Dan Schultz's book.
Yeah, Dan, not Charles.
Dan Schultz.
He's the peanut.
He was on the Trump campaign, I believe.
Yeah, and she was loosely inspired by that. And then toward the end, she tells us, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't read that book."
She couldn't even explain the strategy. It's a very simple strategy.
Yeah, she kept saying if you have a time for my presentation, I'm not going to give you my presentation now. Well, if you can't summarize it in 5 sentences over the course of 2 hours, then no, thank you, ma'am. That was crazy.
County control. That's all she had to say. And
right. One word summary, right? One word summary.
Oh yeah, like Tori said to me today, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we took that and we were like, what just happened here? We were utterly confused because we had so many questions about that. That June 18th event, why Laura did what she did, why Hava was now backtracking and fangirling on
update real quick, just because this pertains to it. Hava was at that event with Laura Logan.
Yeah.
Erin at the time did not know that because she wasn't believing me that was the same person. Because I'm like, she doesn't look like her Facebook thing. I'm like, and I'm telling you,
more catfishing.
It is. I'm like, she was with Laura Logan that day, and Karen didn't believe me, so she had to meet her.
Right. I was like, and I wanted to know who in her group was working with the 3 people in my group, and what was the rabbit hole? What was the effort? What were her results?
Always gets us in trouble.
Yeah. What were her results with these 3 people? Because my results were pretty minimal based on the national project that they said they were working on. And so she pretty much said the person that she had sent the information to, this Yvonne, was a dud, and that any information she got from those 3 duds. And I was like, well, there you go. It was to create division and create chaos and fracture our group because Sarah and I were working so well together. And they approached Sarah because I had met Tina E earlier and pretty much assumed,
you were making waves.
Right.
You were making waves.
Well, I assumed early on, this lady's not going to organize anyone because just the way her personality was, I could not get along with her. And I was like, her and I are not going to make progress together. So there's no,
I'm not going to waste my time.
Right. I'm not going to waste my time. It was very clear to me when I met her, but she took to Sarah in a different way. And that was fine with me.
It's like they know the personality type, right?
Well, until they started creating chaos and, you know what I mean, it just was spiraling, and we don't take we don't take assignments. We don't
Karen,
work for
you don't
you.
give assignments. We will work together the last almost year. You don't give assignments.
Yeah.
Together
so
very, very well. And we're
that
both
was
very
just
bossy, if you guys can tell.
yeah, we're
Like,
very like business, like, here's
dominant.
what I have.
We're very alpha
Like,
female.
right. What do you have? What do you have to contribute or add to this, or what are your thoughts? Like, it's very
And don't waste my
straightforward.
time.
Right, pretty much, because I'm busy and I'm in everything. So, like, please don't waste my time with nonsense. And that's what I
Exactly.
felt it was. I felt it was a whole lot of nonsense. Not only that, my focus again was on the local level. And all of these people were federally, swirling.
Well, they're
with
talking about, no offense to any of these people, but they're talking about Lindell and Dr. Frank and General Lynn. And no offense, they're not in Ohio.
Well, and even Hava's talking about on the national level. What are you doing on the national level? She couldn't tell us. Nobody could tell us what they were doing.
Because the national level doesn't affect our elections. It's the state. And I kept telling her that. So I lost my shit at the end of this. And I was really good, Karen.
Oh, she was.
I was really good for 2 hours. And then I snapped.
2 hours longer than I expected her
She
to.
was mean to me, though, too. She, called me fat during that thing because I wanted more rolls.
Oh, no, more chicken. Or was it rolls or more chicken? I don't know.
I don't know. That chicken was bomb, though. I'm not going to lie. That chicken
I was like, wow, did she just say that? Yeah, it was very much
mean. She ignored me.
Yes, to, mind F you if I get.
Well, she was mad I was there. She didn't expect me to be there. And I was
right.
South, I was like, she'll root you and put you in the woods and your kids will.
Right. We'll have no mother. Talk about having no mother. So anyway. that was how we kind of came together and kind of worked forward. And I'm excited because we've not only kind of broke some of the school funding and have been able to affect that, but we've affected things on a national level with Toresays going from state to state to state, and being able to reach out to other people that she has been in their state, and or they're still watching what she's doing.
And not being effective.
She's doing a whole lot of nothing right now. And I would encourage everybody to look up the Mayfield Heights suit. We'll drop it. Look up her suit against DeWine, our governor. I don't see any successes other than props to her. She got on the ballot as an independent candidate. That was about it.
And she has a successful podcast. I mean, how many votes did she get too? She got like what? 40?
I don't even remember.
Something like that.
It was less than, what did we say? Less than 2%? Was it 2%? Less than 2%? Yeah. And so
2% is always the number.
And so, I don't particularly have any use for Toresays. I'm not sure why she hyper focused on my group, other Revere Freedom Alliance, other than Sarah
successful.
Well, Sarah going after her on her socials routinely, and us being successful. We were
exposing her for what she is. She's full of.
Because Sarah and I were a great team. We were working very, very well together until these three kind of got into her head. And I'm not going to sit here and say,
well, it's just like Eric and Joe going back to the grift. You know what I mean?
Right. It's very hurtful.
Just because they don't like, the other candidate.
Well, when you can't trust the people that you thought you could trust. And it's hurtful. It's very, and not only that, I had a friendship. I had a friendship. And so what was really interesting to me was after they, continually told me that one of the members came back to me who couldn't get a clinical assignment because she had exercised her religious intention.
Yeah.
And she wanted my help. And I actually helped her despite all of the nonsense. And I tried to reach out to my medical contacts, and you know what I mean? But then, of course, on social, she tells me I was of no use to her. And, our local senator was of more use to her.
I believe I talked to this person for 2 hours one day.
Yeah, I sent her to you. I was like, see what you can garner from this, because I'm working the actual medical colleague angle. See what you can work on legally with her, because I was contacting any medical colleagues that I had in positions that could get her into a clinical, because I have been in the nursing field for like 22, 23 years.
Yeah.
And so I know, I forget, it's 2023. And so, despite all that, she tells me, well, you were of no assistance and our local senator was more. And I was like, oh, you mean the one you stood up in that meeting and said you couldn't get to call you back over election integrity? Well, I'm glad he was useful for something.
Exactly.
And she dropped out. She dropped out of school because she couldn't get a clinical that would accept
That's
her
horrible.
exemption. And they were, and right, and that's what I said. I said our local representative who gave money to this school and was proud giving this grant to this school is now, not helping students who they accept their religious exemptions, and they won't help them get a clinical placement with a facility that will likewise accept their religious exemption. So, round and round we go, but that's another issue, and we'll deal with that on a legal front. And I had actually shared that when this last bill, we had talked about it when a bill came up in Ohio regarding this. I think it was House Representative Lips had dropped that medical, and we talked about it doesn't make any difference if they can't finish their clinical requirements.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The clinicals
had it doesn't matter. And clearly that's not
it's not
only
between, well, my thing, it's not between the student and the school. It's between the school and the hospitals that they contract with to
terms of service contracts, huh?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm such a mean and hateful and, disheartening person that I tried to help her in multiple ways. So it is what it is.
Common theme when you're trying to be helpful.
Well, and
even those channels, like, have you ever been, like, even in Ohio, the short time that I was in there from September to February or March or whatever, it's just hateful. And that was my biggest thing when we started grow with Brad and them. I was like, we're not doing that. We're not doing the mean shit. Like, which is kind of funny and ironic. We have Mean Street because people call us so mean. We're honest. And just because you don't like our opinion doesn't mean that we're mean people. Now, I'm okay with that title. I think Karen is as well, because I can be mean.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm good at it.
I'm very good at it.
But besides that, what we're doing, I'm not going to attack I don't think attacking people's characters is possible. I'm going to attack actions, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Done. And that's what we're doing here with Tori. I'm not saying Tori's a this, that, and other thing. What I'm saying is she's
a chaos coordinator
because she's lying to the people and misleading them.
Well, and she's a chaos coordinator.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer.
It's about divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly.
And where's the house thing? You got to do your house quote. A house to go against each other.
Oh, a house divided cannot stand. So, and I think that was the purpose of those three people that came into my group at the bottom line. I think that's the purpose
of all these people and the state groups, and it's controlled. And the population that she has targeted is very smart.
They were not lacking on the intellect front. I mean, they were very, very smart.
But honestly, paranoid because of what happened the last few years. She struck at she must have, not seen that she knew it, but she just got good timing.
Well, and I just think that
the government,
people are worried about things, conspiracy theories. And, I'm trying.
I hate that term.
I hate that term as well. I'm trying to back up those with legitimate
substantiate
those claims. And I'm not going down that rabbit hole. If I can't substantiate something, I'm not going to put it out there, and I can't go in on it. I'm sorry.
No.
I don't care how passionate you feel about it. If you cannot,
we don't talk out of the sides of our mouth.
No, if you cannot substantiate that claim to me, then I don't know what to do with that. I can tell you, I know what happened.
We have a theory.
Yeah, like I think that, Mark Bakita and Jim Renacci had a call.
Yeah.
But I can't substantiate
I can't prove
that.
it.
Right.
Can't substantiate it because I wasn't on that call.
Because I wasn't on that call.
But that's what people need to realize. There's rumors about people everywhere. But unfortunately, and this is what people like to say, as constitutionalists, as Republicans, as conservatives, whatever, libertarians, we're innocent until proven guilty. And if you guys have a claim, you need to substantiate that claim or you don't have anything.
Well, and it goes back to using the judiciary as like bullshit with Tor, because it's a lot of wasted time. It's a lot of wasted time and wasted effort on everyone's part that is involved in that. Not just, her writing things, not just the attorneys taking it forward. You know what I mean? It's just a waste of time.
It is.
I don't know that any legal precedent, if I'm wrong, please somebody let me know, that she has set. Not one in Ohio that I'm aware of.
Not that I'm aware, but she has so many names. How would we know?
Well, and that was the other, as we were trying to figure out,
Well, how does this woman have a marriage certificate with Tip Sakori, but she's running a Secretary of State that's Tip Terp Sahori? Or how is she running? You know what I mean? Like, it just...
Yes. Like, how did she get on the ballot if that's not her legal name? Does she have multiple?
Well, my question is, isn't that
IDs or...
Wouldn't that be fraud?
Right. Like, yeah, multiple birth certificates, multiple identification. Like, I don't know.
Frank, I'd look into that if I were you, because that looks like a fraud case.
Yeah. And so, I think the bottom line.
And her articles of incorporation are in Ohio.
Yes, we did learn that.
Yeah, we
did a lot of digging and a lot of research regarding, her brand.
Because we don't want to talk about somebody and not.
Right, and not be able to have receipts, because we all know that she likes to use the judicial branch.
So we want to tell everybody, though, we started Mean Street Ohio, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, meanstreetohio.com. Yeah.
And because we went through this.
And we learned about local government from, running as a candidate.
The best of the best.
Right. Running as candidates, executing a campaign.
Researching and reading about county central committees and learning the history, why they operate the way they do, and going to local school board meetings and getting the agendas and the attachments and reading. I mean, it's a lot of reading.
Yeah. It's annoyingly so. And I said I stopped reading after nursing school. I read these documents.
You read more now.
I do. I'm like, what did they just say? And I will have to go back and reread it again, which is super annoying because I'm a slow reader to begin with. But to really
which is like the super speed reader. Like,
to really soak it in and understand it, I've always been like that kind of.
That's okay, but I'm the one that can get through a document and be like, this is what it's
you annoy me with that, but that's okay.
I know.
That's why
it's my mother. You can ask my mom. My mom can read a book in like a morning, and they can read
that was never
in the afternoon. We're just
but
readers.
Don't confuse my slow reading
Karen
skills
outwits me. She has
the inability to discern from
She's strategic.
Yeah. So I'm super glad we met. I'm super glad that we have moved forward with our
and formed a friendship.
Oh yeah. And you know what? The greatest thing about our friendship is you have my back. And
always.
And even
if you're wrong, I'll have your back. And on the back end for me.
You'll be like, that was just wrong, but like, I got you. But that, regardless of our disagreements and us talking things out,
and we've had them,
and telling each other like, okay, just be quiet and like let me finish the sentence, because sometimes passions collide, and that's okay, and we're good with that. And you know what? We've talked every one of them through. We've come out on the other side, and we've done some really kick-ass things that I'm super excited about. And I'm thankful for the people that we've met and, continue to work with and combine efforts with. And so I'm just excited for what 2023 will hold. Now, I'm sure, there are those that are, trying to heal and trying to figure out, and hindsight is 2020. But I'm just going to tell you that it's not worth your time. Go to your backyard.
That's where it starts. So I want to leave this off in a little note. This is just part one with me and Karen. There's more of this lovely adventure that we want to introduce to you people. So it'll probably be later this week, you think? We're a little busy, but later this week we'll probably
later this week, or like maybe over the weekend we'll release it next week.
we'll
I'm not sure. My kid
need to be a little more
summer.
organized with this one, so it's going to take us a little bit more time to put some stuff together for you. But come to mainstreetoh.com. We have articles up there. We're still working on the site. We're getting all our educational stuff up there and organized. We're going to start a new Tory page, right? I think now that's appropriate. We did these 2 interviews. And subscribe to our YouTube and
we wanted to share our story because we felt it was relevant, and it would be relevant to
a lot of
our upcoming podcast too. We wanted to give the backstory before we went into our podcast to keep it political, as politically focused,
and not the Tory Maris show. The Tory Maris stuff will be probably on YouTube, and podcast is more about Ohio and politically what's going on, and inform people the correct way instead of just reporting what we're told to.
Right, following the talking heads. So, appraising legislation and getting busy. Getting busy in our own backyards, in our county, and at our state
and
level.
Informing people of informed citizenry.
Yeah. I mean, that was the biggest thing I learned, and I'm like super glad that was like the first article I put out.
And those will be up on, all of Karen's stuff will be up on our site within the next couple of days. We've just been, last week was
crazy. But it's a super exciting time in Ohio. Politically, as we, have a new chair and are moving forward, we hope in unity. Things got a little crazy with our speakers, but you know what? Nothing that we can't handle here in Ohio. So you know what they say, as Ohio goes, so goes
the nation.
Yeah. Stay focused, Ohio.
We're going to make sure that Ohio's not going anywhere but here.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the encouragement. Like, we're going to keep working diligently with those who want to make, legitimate local efforts, and it's going to start at the ground, and it's going to go from our counties to our state house, and hopefully eventually to the federal level as well.
Hopefully, and that's my end all be all goal, and I want to spread what we're doing in Ohio across the nation, because I think it's relevant, but stop listening to the talking heads.
Us included. We're not talking heads. We're learning with you, and we're figuring it out as we go, and we're finding the answers as people bring them forward to us.
And as you are, because we're just starting to learn Robert's rules. We're going to do summaries on each of the chapters for you guys. We're going to give you guys cheat sheets, but we're not professionals at this. We're learning. I've been learning since 2020. You too.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine the amount of information that I've gone through. It is insane, but I've learned a lot, and it's exciting. It can be fun.
It is fun,
but I don't know.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your vision and for your friendship, and stay focused, Ohio.
And God bless you all, and thank God for finding all of us. Have a good one.